Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, I've had a little break. I've needed a little break because, well, it hasn't been a year I've enjoyed making content because of FC26 being the worst game I've ever played. But yeah, we're back. I have some content that I do need to bring out. I've recorded a lot recently. So that should be interesting, but today, just a little bit of something different. Well, I say different, I did a bit of this last summer when we had the whole Transeri saga, but we're actually not going to do gameplay stuff today. We're going to do an actual Sheffield Wednesday video. I'm going to talk to you about my thoughts going into the season and how I feel we've gone about pre-season. A lot has changed over the summer, a lot has changed since the last time we did one of these videos, because, well, somebody's gone, we've now got new owners, and we're going into a season with a tiny bit more optimism than we were last season. So yeah, without any delay, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to start things off on the departure list. We have only just today got a new departure come through, so that is that's a new one for us to discuss. We'll start with that one while it's fresh in the mind. Charlie McNeill has today joined Crewe on loan. Now, it didn't work out, I don't think, between us and McNeill. I don't know how long he has on his contract, because he claimed he had 3 years. This would be the third, but I've now heard there is a fourth. Yeah, so I'm not 100%. We will find out, I guess, in the summer. Or if anyone who does just know, if you could let me know in the comments, that'd be great. Also, sorry for that light. I still don't have a light shade. But my office area down there is, strangely, it's hotter over there than it is over here. So I've decided I'm going to stand over here because, well, I'm recording this the day it's coming out, and if you've been outside today, you may have noticed it's pretty hot. So yeah, it's a bit warm. But yeah, McNeill, for me, it hasn't worked out how we would have liked it to. You know, players coming in from Manchester United, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be great, he's going to have so much potential. And I still think he has potential, but similar to a lot of players, he seems to have a bit of an attitude problem. And I don't want to go into depth into attitude problems. He just seems to almost lack motivation when things aren't going his way. And that's something that I feel has affected him during his time at the club. He had that little bright spell where I think he scored 4 or 5 goals in like 3 games or something. Then he missed that penalty against Preston, and he just sort of fell apart. He sort of just wasn't the player he looked like he could have been after that little spell, which is unfortunate. After that, he grabbed a goal in the derby. After that, we still lost the game, unfortunately, but he just got scoring a goal in the derby. You write yourself into Wednesday folklore forever. So he's done that, but did I think that him moving on may have been the right call? Probably. I wouldn't mind having a look at him in League One. But the fact we've seen that he should go out on loan in League 2 maybe suggests it is time to just say goodbye to him, because if we don't think he can hack it in League 1, he won't be able to hack it in the Championship if we end up going back up this summer. So maybe we'll work backwards then in terms of departures. We've got second most recent, Ike Ugbo, he's gone out on loan, but he's in the final year of his contract. I think that's definite. So that is a goodbye. Needed to be a goodbye. Same with McNeil, but just on steroids. Major attitude problem. When he came back, there was so much excitement. He just had that brilliant second half of the season. You could argue the reason we stayed up was Ugbo's goals in that second half of the 23-4 season. But it didn't work out after he came back. I saw in his interview he blamed the fact that that Danny left as to why he struggled, but he struggled the season with Danny as well. So I'm not buying it, Ike. As much as he was woeful, I genuinely will always appreciate what he did for us in that second half of the season that I just referenced. Because he kept us up, and as bad as he's been, I'll always look at, if a player's had a good spell at a club, I'll always look at that over the bad spell. So I'll always appreciate Ike for what he did, but it was the right decision to move him on because he didn't work out in the end. And he's already out of Europe, debut out of Europe, so it must be a bad luck job. But yeah, like I said, attitude was his major problem, especially last season. Stormed off at Ipswich, was walking around in the derby at Hillsborough to the point there was cheers when he went off. I didn't agree with that. I really didn't. No matter how bad a player's been, I don't think cheering them getting substituted is ever the right way to go about it. But at the same time, I can understand it. He's literally walking around in the biggest game of last season, so it is understandable. But yeah, honestly, like I said, Ike, appreciate you for what you did in the past, and I wish you well. I really do, and I hope you get your confidence back, and I hope that you become a good player. Simple as that. Also, Charlie McNeil, all the best on your loan as well. Forgot to say that. Next departure, we'll work back to the contract expirations. Just a quick one, Reece Johnson, signed a new deal, gone out on loan. I didn't rate him last season. I think bringing in the likes of Adaramola to play at left back was important because Reece Johnson wasn't the one for me. So it was great to get in Adaramola, but simultaneously I know because of last season, some of these young lads have got some experience now to take to the lower levels, so maybe you could argue a bit of potential there in a lot of the lads that featured last season. And Reece Johnson, hope he does well on his loan spell, and I hope he comes back and absolutely tears it up for us. So yeah, that's just a quick one to touch on. Again, best of luck with your loan, Reece. The next one would be, I might miss a few. Logan Stretch, I think he went on loan. The goalkeeper, all the best for you. Didn't look too bad in his little sub appearance in the FA Cup, but simultaneously, can you really judge a second choice keeper coming on in a cup match for 20 minutes? Probably not. Then we've got Pierce Charles. He's now left. It's one that I want to dig into a little bit because I think City have mugged us off here, because there's they've got 3 million raised into 10 if certain clauses are met. Do those clauses apply to loans? Because I do not see Pierce Charles wearing a City shirt at any point. No disrespect to him, he deserves to wear the shirt of a top club, but I don't think Manchester City is that top club he will end up at. They've got Donnarumma. I think he's just signed a keeper as well. I'm not 100%. But I don't think Pierce Charles will meet those clauses at Man City. I think at most we might get the raising to 5, but we're not getting the raising to 10 at any point, because unless it applies to loans, I don't see him meeting whatever those clauses are. I assume it'll be like appearances and stuff. I just don't see it. So I think it won't raise to 10. And I'm doubtful it'll raise to 5. So I think, obviously if I'm wrong, I might have read into this horribly wrong. I'll admit I didn't actually look to see if there was any confirmation of what those clauses are. But for me, I think it's bad business. I really do. I think we should have gone for 5 up front, raising to 10. I don't think we should have gone for 3. But, you know, Pierce, he was never going to stay. I'd have loved it if we had Pierce Charles in League One. I really would. But there was never a realistic chance he was ever going to be here. And I don't blame him for leaving. He's good enough to be in a Championship team that's pushing for promotion. I think he'll do well for QPR. He made that little blip at the weekend against, who was that against now? Whoever QPR played this weekend, he made that little blip, but it was only little. I think it was it Millwall? It might have been Millwall. But yeah, he will do well. It was very uncharacteristic, that little error. And last time he made an error of significance, we'll say, was against Stoke a few years ago, and he went on to have a man of the match performance the next game. So there you go, QPR fans, got that to look forward for. Pierce Charles loves the bounce back performance. But yeah, again, Pierce, he's got a bright future. Shea as well, we'll touch on Shea while he's here. He's just got his move to the Prem. We knew he had talent. The Charles brothers are going to be well-known names in football in the next 5 years, I'll tell you now. And yeah, I wish them both the best. Final transfer departure I'll touch on is Ingelsson. We'll touch on a couple of the released players as well. Svante, player of the year last year, put his body on the line. Surprised his end of season injury problems didn't occur sooner. I mean, even before Calvin Phillips karate kicked him in the knee in the derby, he'd already taken some quite heavy blows to his legs. But he always took one. He always challenged strongly. He wore his heart on his sleeve, and he always gave 100%, even if that 100% wasn't great still, because who can blame him? Last season wasn't great, full stop. Next season at Stoke, I don't know if Stoke really needed him. I don't know if midfield was a place that Stoke needed to work on. But again, I'm never going to stop a player from last season leaving, because who wants to be in League One? You know, Svante was part of that squad that had the nearly playoff push. So why would you still want to be here? Yes, so 1 mil, good deal in my opinion. You know, for a player of Ingelsson, it's quality, definitely a good deal. And yeah, I wish him all the best as well. So yeah, that's all the transfer departures done. We'll move on to the release. I just need to check who I want to touch on. 1 second. Okay, first one we'll touch on, Nathaniel Chalobah. Came back actually for a bit of bit of training. And yeah, it's a weird one, Chalobah, because obviously Wednesdayites will know he was absolutely apologies, I'm getting messages, I'm gonna have to. Okay, we're back. First of all, breaking news: Liam Palmer hasn't been included on the website on players yet, so I wonder if something's happening there. Not 100%, but we'll see. We'll have to monitor that. But I think it's just because he's going to say club captain. I think that's why. But we'll have to wait and see, like I said. Back to Chalobah then. Yeah, he was class. Like, he was really good. His only problem was he barely kicked a ball for us because he was always injured. If Nathaniel Chalobah could stay fit, genuinely, we might have. The playoff push might have been more than a playoff push. Don't want to get ahead of myself because who knows? We don't know. But yeah, Nathaniel Chalobah, player who proved himself at the back end of last season when he came back from his last little injury with us. Scored the goal on the last day to give us the lead. And all round top guy as well. You know, and all the best to him. The injuries just really ruined his career for him at Wednesday. But like I said, I think Charlton he's just signed for. All the best there, mate. And yeah, thanks for being great when you were fit. And next one I'll touch on Dom Iorfa. Yeah, since pre-COVID, you know, he signed under Steve Bruce. Who remembers that time? You know, I say that like it was like back in the 90s. But yes, signed under Steve Bruce was, I wouldn't say phenomenal. You know, he certainly dropped off a bit towards the back end, but he was always reliable. He was always there. He was a bit injury prone at times, but when he was fit, you knew you had a centre back or a right back. You could play for at least 90 minutes, you know, and then he was there for the miracle of Hillsborough. He was there for the promotion to the Championship at Wembley, Josh Windass, you know. Modern day, you know, Wednesday great. Modern day Wednesday great. You know, I wouldn't call him quite legend. Not here long enough, I don't think, to class him as a legend, but he was definitely a modern day great. And you know, my dad, favourite player for years. You know, it was always him and George Byers during the days they were together. But yeah, I think it had to come to an end eventually. I was surprised to learn that it was this summer that it came to an end, but I knew in the next 2-3 years it would have had to have come to an end. But yeah, like I said, surprised it was this summer, but at the same time, in a way, I understand it. I can't think of anyone else I want to touch on the contracts, apart from the ones that have obviously signed new ones. So we'll jump into it. The signings and the new contracts. Let me just check my list. Okay, I'm going to start with the main new contract guys, and that is probably Liam Cooper and obviously Max Lowe. Max was a big question mark and a big sigh of relief when he signed, because he's going to be class in League One. Max Lowe in League One is going to be absolutely unbelievable. Especially if Jan Valery stays, you know, looking at that left back and right back. Oh, yeah, I'm excited if that happens. League's done if Valery stays. League is done if Valery stays. But yeah, anyway. Liam Cooper, he always wanted to stay. We always were going to probably keep him, even if he's not going to feature as much because of injury. Obviously, I'd like him to feature, but if his injury means he doesn't feature as much, then, you know, so be it. He's there to mentor the kids, let's face it. You know, we've got young Gurney Weaver. I didn't send him out on loan, but simultaneously, he proved himself in the Championship. So, is he going to be a beast in League One? Do we need to send him out on loan? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that is a nice one. But like I said, Max Lowe, he was the big contract this summer. Yeah, when we tied him down, drinks were on me when we tied him down, we'll say that. Because that is arguably the best news we've had this summer. So, yeah. Not too much more to touch on new deals. Thornton signed one. Moses signed one either today or yesterday. And like I said, Reece Johnson signed one before going out on loan as well. I think that's it in terms of what I want to touch on. So we'll go to signings. Some class signings. Really good signings. I might do a rankings for the signings because there've been that many. So goalkeepers, we've signed Conor Drummond, Ashley Maynard-Brewer, I think that's his name, and Joe Lumley. Keeper position is probably where, apart from wing back and striker, we've probably done okay, pretty average, you know. Probably the worst we've done, but still average. But you look at some of the keepers that have gone up in recent years. I mean, that Bonham at Bolton, he looked absolutely all at sea this weekend when we played him in Cup. He looked all at sea with that goal. You know, if I were Bolton, I wouldn't be confident going into a season with him in the goal. But like I said, he went up last year, so goalkeeping maybe not the biggest problem as long as you've got a good defence in front of you, because Bolton had a good defence last year. So speaking of that defence, should we jump into it? No, I'm going to speak about it actually. I'm going to speak about keepers. Maynard-Brewer, I can't remember where he came from. I think it was Charlton. I think he was like started there at times, but wasn't really part of their plans after Kaminsky came in. Conor Drummond was second choice at Milton Keynes Dons, MK Dons franchise, I think. So he's not pulling up any trees. Joe Lumley came on loan last year, didn't really play after that. You know, came for 2 games, so yeah, that's what makes it a bit average in my opinion. But he did all right in the time he was with us. He had that absolutely storming performance against Middlesbrough. Like, fair play to him for that. So yeah, it's all right, I suppose. Yeah, like I said, let's move on to that defence. That's a bit more interesting to talk about than the 3 goalkeepers that have barely played for their clubs but have now got first team football probably. First up, centre back we released obviously Big Dom. That was a hole that needed filling. We filled it straight away with someone arguably as big, but maybe just a little less quick, in Rico Santos. Being at Bolton, can't think of anywhere else he's been. No disrespect to him, obviously. But off the top of my head, I can't think where else he's been. But he looks solid at Bolton. He just has a mistake in him, has a red card in him. And I think that is probably where our issue will be with him, just those mistakes. But if you can iron those out, if Henrik can iron those out, or whatever manager comes next, because we'll get on to Henrik in a minute, but we'll have to wait and see. With him, Silswinkels, he looked incredible this weekend. You know, he looked solid at the back. Won countless duels and stuff, and yeah, he looks, he's still young, I think, as well. Well, I know he's still young. So he definitely has potential, I think, to grow. It almost feels like almost a little Akin for Mayo type thing, you know. He came in a promising young lad and left a decent centre half. Obviously, maybe if we could scratch out the 6 months he don't play because he got an ACL injury with Sil, that'd be great. But I won't complain if he comes out that Akin for Mayo type player. As long as we don't sack our manager and bring Xisco in and Xisco plays him at left back, that is not what we're after. Especially if we've got a left back in the squad. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Xisco. I'm looking at you. Marvin Johnson was in the squad. Well, he wasn't. You didn't register him. Yeah, that was a time. That was a time. Anyway, moving on. We also brought in. Let me refer to my list. Next, I'll talk about Jordi Langola. He was wicked. He was wicked this weekend. You know, defensive side of things, a bit on the attacking side of things as well. I can't remember if it was him or not, but I think it was him who put that absolutely wonderful crossing on another day Max Lowe's burying. Yeah, all in all, great looking player, great looking potential. I think he'll do bits for us this year. I really do. You know, both defensive and attacking. One thing I do wish he'd do, I don't think he backed himself. I think he could have took on, I think he had that wing back on toast. I think he had that full back he was against on toast this weekend. And he didn't take him on enough. And I would have liked to see that. Another player we've brought in, Harry Gray, got assaulted this weekend. Hope your ribcage is doing alright, mate. I'm falling over. Sorry. But yeah, hope your ribcage is alright, Harry. Yeah, in terms of Harry Gray, he looks promising. He really does. One thing I did pick up on, he shows the ball too much. And as a result, he got pocketed a couple of times, you know, and he lost the ball way too easily. But again, looks to be a top player. Excited to see where he goes. You know, 17 years of age, only on loan obviously, but you know, at 17, you know, you've got time to learn. This is the time to learn. You're out on loan. You're going to get chances in this team. You know, Harry, I doubt you'll ever watch this, but if you do, you know, stop showing the ball so much and you're already a top player for League One and you will progress and get interest from better clubs. That, I mean, we can't bring you back in next season, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, impress. You know, that's what you had to do. Next man, Billy Mitchell. Not seen him yet. A couple of these lads I haven't seen because they didn't feature yet, or didn't feature much at the weekend. I didn't go to any friendlies. I wanted to go to some friendlies, but I ended up being away. So we never got the chance to go to any. So yeah, that screwed that idea up. But yeah, Billy Mitchell, he didn't play at the weekend. I went to the cup game. Wasn't fit. Don't know if he's fit this weekend. I'm waiting for whatever said in Henrik's press conference to not get live streamed but get posted online instead. So yeah, we'll wait and see on Billy Mitchell. I think he'll be a top signing. I think he'll be good in this league. You know, he could get into the Millwall team, so no reason why he can't get into our team. So yeah, not much to say on Mitchell at the moment, apart from decent signing, and we'll see what comes of that. Next up, we'll go with Louis Barry. Louis Barry. Wow, that's all I can really say. What a signing. Arguably the best signing we've made this summer, Louis Barry. Went to them a lot last season. Wasn't great. Wasn't great. But I think he might be that type of player that has one league on toast, not quite good enough for the next one. I hope he proves us wrong. I hope he, well, obviously I hope he still has this league on toast, but also proves us wrong if we get promoted and he has a good year with us in the Championship. But yeah, Lou Barry, what a signing. You know, a couple of stints at Stockport, tore it up. You know, if we end up sacking Pedersen and bringing Chalner, they work together. You know, we've brought together a lot of players from Stockport. That's all I'm saying. We can make it work, lads. We can make it work. But yeah, Louis Barry, what a player, what a signing. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. You know, I'm excited to see what he does. So I'm excited to see where he can get us this season. Hopefully title, but I'll stop being greedy and say if you could get us a top 6, that'd be smashing, Louis. Mason Burstow didn't look too good, but give him time. You know, I think he took a little bit of time to adjust at Bolton. So yeah, give him time, let him adjust. Sure, he'll be an absolutely top player for us this season. I'm sure he'll get goals, and that's what we need. So yeah, that's that. And then the last one, I think I've touched on everyone now. Barry Bannon. We knew it was happening. Worst kept secret in football. We knew he was coming back. We knew he was coming back the second he left. You know, so what was it to know about that? Played that lovely assist. You know, first game back in a Wednesday shirt has already arguably got assist of the season. Which, by the way, that goal by Jams. What a finish. So yeah, Barry, welcome back to Wednesday. We missed you, and yeah, go tear it up again. Do what you did before you left. So yeah, that's it for signings, I think. If I've missed any, I apologise, and I'll speak about them in a separate video where I'm going to rank the signings that we made. I forgot about Slatter. Is it Slattery or Slattery? I can't remember how you say it. I forgot about him. Yeah, he looks like a George Baertschi type player. Just take from that what you need to. George Baertschi's class in League One. He's the type of player we need. So, yeah, midfield is looking solid next season. Bit of depth will be there. So yeah, that is it for signings now. Let's move on. Next up, we'll combine it, Pedersen and performances in pre-season. We had that shocking display against, was it West Brom? And then we went on to beat Preston in what appeared to be a decent performance. Then a couple of defeats abroad. Then we come back, we draw 0-0 with, forget which way it was, I think it was 0-0 with Accrington and lost 4-0 to Oldham. That is not something to be proud of. That is not proud of the boys, Henrik. It was really poor from us. We were awful. I know someone who went to the Oldham game said it's the worst we've played under Pedersen. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just going on what I've been told. Don't shoot the messenger. But that brings me on to Pedersen. I still don't believe he's good enough. You know, even against Bolton, we didn't need to be good because they weren't good, but we weren't good against Bolton. I'd love to have seen where we would have been at if we needed to be good, but I'll let him off on the Bolton game based on the fact that we didn't need to be good. So yeah, but yeah, for me, he's not the man. I know there's been a lot to do this summer, so I sort of understand it, but I was also sort of surprised when I learnt that Pedersen was going to stay on as manager. For me, I think a better manager gets more out of that squad last season. I think a better manager gets us something out of that second Steel City derby. And I think a better manager gets us in the positives, not just on zero. I want to argue a better manager gives us a fighting chance, but I'm not going to, because a big fighting chance fucked off when we went into admin and everything. So it needed to happen, but it ruined all our chances of staying up. And yeah, I don't think Henrik will take us forward. I want him more than maybe not more than anyone, maybe similar to a lot of people. I want him to prove us wrong. I want him to go out there and piss League One next season. But I just can't see it in him. I can't. I think he's a great coach, but I don't think he's a manager. I think he's a great coach, but not a manager. I think that is Henrik Pedersen's problem at Sheffield Wednesday. It's annoying, I know, but it's true. For me, these first 5 games are critical. If we haven't got minimum 9 points from these first 5 games, I think we need to drop the axe. I really do. I think we need a manager and not a coach. Henrik, prove me wrong, please, please, please. But for now, I'm going to say Henrik Pedersen isn't the man to take us forward. But I hope I'm proud of the boys at the end of the season. That's all I'm going to say. Final thing to touch on then is the season ahead. And my little prediction. Actually, you know what? I saw something that I'm actually skipping over because it's not really that relevant anymore, because it was like last week. But it's actually reminded me to talk about the season tickets. Can somebody tell me why the season tickets are just white? Like, insert image here. This is a better season ticket than a white season ticket, even though it takes the piss out of your manager. I'm going to forget to put that in now, but anyway. But yeah, we need a good season ticket, please. Please send me a new one. But yeah, season ahead. I've got it in my head, it's that we need to go straight back up. But I understand if we don't. For the simple reason, we're rebuilding. That's fine. Your rebuilds never go to plan first year. They never do. But we need to go up. I don't like League One. I don't want to sit and watch League One football for 2 years. I know whenever we go down, we always take 2 years to come back up. But I beg we don't this time. Just please, Wednesday, just go up this year. I don't want League One football next season. But yeah, for me, I'm going to play a safe prediction. And I'm going to go with one that can go either way. I'm going to put us in the playoffs. I think we are good enough to finish 4th. I think we're good enough to finish 4th. I think we're good enough to finish higher. But I'm going to play it safe and say 4th. Bang smack in the middle of the playoffs. And give us a fighting chance of getting out of the division in the playoffs. While also saying we're not going to go straight up. I think playoffs is a reasonable place for me to predict us. So yeah, that is 4th place for us this season. If you'd like to see me rank the rest of the league, I did it last year, but I don't want to look at it because I think it was absolutely abysmal in the end. I don't think I got anything right. But yeah, if you do want to see that, then please do let me know in the comments. That's it for today. New content coming out soon, maybe even alongside this episode. I'm back, new season, new content. We're going to do some more Wednesday content. But yeah, it's exciting times. We're back with owners that actually care about the club. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you did like the video, then don't forget to like it, subscribe, and to click the notification bell so you never miss an upload in my life as a Wednesday fan. Yeah, it gets interesting at times, believe it or not. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen.